Hey, it's Drew Neiser here with a Thursday tip. I fooled you. You probably thought it was Tuesday. No, a Thursday tip. And I'm here with Keith Brannan, the CMO of Kasasa, a financial services company that focuses on small banks, community banks. And so our tip today is, how do you market effectively to smaller businesses? So Keith, what's tip number one?
Tip number one is really get in there and know their business and pick a type. It can't be all small businesses, because you have to remember that buyer at small institutions, they live and breathe their business. All entrepreneurs, and they live and breathe it, and you have to know it in order to help identify problems you can solve for them.
All right. So we really have to segment here carefully. And I know anybody who listens to our podcast will hear you say that you had 4,600 was your target audience of community banks. Okay. So we're going to have a small target audience that we really know well.
Yep.
What's tip number two?
Tip number two would be know the differences within your audience, because there definitely are some. Even within our 4,600, some are credit unions that think about their consumers one way. Some are banks that think about theirs another way. And some are business banks that don't serve consumers really at all. They really want to only serve commercial. They all have different problems. And so you really have to focus on addressing those one-to-one, hand-to-hand.
Okay. So we know our customers, and we even segment within that. What kinds of things do you do? So let's say you have that information. How do you adjust to that information?
Yeah, the first way is when you're going to make a presentation to them, or even outbound to lead gen, make sure you're talking about that to them. You don't want to talk about a global message to everyone if you can possibly segment to something interesting. Give them the three things you can help them with. Never have one, because that may not be their one today. If you're talking to restaurants, you want to talk about menus and food and cleanliness. You don't just want to talk about menus, because they may have just gotten a new one.
All right. So you better be three relevant tips that
Sure.
they can help, that they can learn from, that will start the conversation, will engage them. Was there a third tip, speaking of three, or do we sort of cover it?
I would say that the third tip, when you're actually talking to them, make sure that your product lines up with what you were talking to them about. Nothing wrecks you in small business communities than making sure that whatever you marketed to them can be delivered. If it can't,
wait, no bait and switch, no over promising?
No overpromising, no bait and switch, because you got to sit down with them a lot of times.
There you go. All right. Well, that's your Thursday tip. It was know your target audience, segment your target audience, and don't lie to them. Be real, be transparent. All right. Keith Brannan, thank you for the tip. For more tips, visit renegade.com.